Okay.
All right.
Round
Take
2
two.
of
There
being
we
back.
go. We'll give
You're
it another
100%
shot.
uploaded. I'm 0% uploaded. Let's see if this works. Oh, never mind. We made it. It went all the way up. Okay. So
There
we're
we
rolling
go.
now.
We're on.
We are rolling, I think.
We ride.
And
We tell the fans about everything here. We're
yeah,
riding
absolutely. We
along.
shoot from the hip first day back in 2 weeks, and technical errors are back.
It happens. We're human. This is real life. You know, it's not always going to be sunshine and daisies.
Yeah, got to keep the fans 100% in the loop, though.
Exactly. They have to know. I'm sitting here in my Florida room. We got the Christmas lights going all over, looking nice.
Nice
We're feeling
decorated.
mighty festive.
It's the holiday season.
So youpie-doo and dickory-dock.
Don't come and fuck my cock. What?
So we had quite the week of football.
Absolutely.
We had maybe the best game of the year with that Eagles-Bills game.
Yeah, that was a wild one.
Eagles seem to just be just stumbling their way to being the best team in the league.
Yeah, they just win at this point. Like, it's ugly. It looks like they're gonna lose, and out of nowhere, they pull it together at the end. It seems like every week.
Yeah, they just find a way, and it's insane because Jalen Hurts is he comes out of that game, and you have a lot of people who are saying that they think he's the MVP. He's the favorite to win the MVP right now. And it's that first half, he had 33 points? Or not 33 points. He had 33 yards. It's insane.
Yeah.
They're just not exactly playing well. The defense isn't really playing that great. But they just outlast teams and they find a way to come back. Now this week will be the real test. This will be the first week. If they do beat the Niners, that I'll be okay, they are the team to beat. But right now, I don't know if you can stumble your way past the Niners.
Now the big issue with the Eagles is that secondary. They're bottom. They're on the below 25, 5th ranked in a lot of different categories. They're not holding it down in the back side. They brought in Kevin Byard, but that hasn't seemed to really help too much. But somehow, when they don't score a lot, the defense seems to step up, like against the Chiefs a couple weeks ago. I think it was 21-17 that game. And then when their defense is getting torched by Josh Allen last week, the offense did what it needed to do late in that game to step up and win it. So they're just finding ways. It will be interesting to see against this 49ers because I do think the 49ers scheme will be able to take advantage of their weakness in the secondary as long as they don't injure Purdy again.
That's also one of those things, I think Dan Orlovsky said it about the Chiefs game, where it's it was clear watching that game that the Chiefs were the better team. They were executing better, and it's they were just, but at some point, the Eagles seem to always get an incredibly lucky turn. And it's in that game, it was Mahomes could not buy a catch for his life. His receivers were dropping balls. That one guy, Watson, is terrible. He should not be on an NFL roster. And it's honestly a fireable offense to the GM for how the malpractice that has been made, I don't even know what the right word would be, on that wide receiving core. That it's you have the best quarterback in the league and you literally gave him practice squad receivers to work with and a 34-year-old tight end. And,
Mahomes really has to do it all for that offense, basically. And even when he's dotting people up, it's still up to the receivers to hold on to the ball, and they just haven't been doing it this year. Honestly, I thought they might drop that game last weekend when they go down 14-0 to the Raiders, but it seems something changed for them, at least, after they dropped down 14-0. It seemed like they turned it up on offense. They were like, we cannot lose to the Raiders or else this could be not the season we're looking for. We could not be going that far. And
Yeah, they
I
ramped it
mean,
up.
they went on a 31-3 run to end that game. So
Yeah,
seems like
but yeah,
they found something.
yeah, and like to finish up, I guess the thought about the Eagles is like they got those drops. Like you said, their secondary is a fatal flaw. They're slow, and against like a team like San Francisco, like you said, we'll be able to expose that for a lot of their kind of horizontal movements that they have. A lot of like just plays where they count on their guys outrunning people. And like you
Hmm.
said, if Purdy doesn't get hurt, I also think there's a part of this game where San Francisco is still really pissed about last year. And I
Yeah.
think like they're coming into this game like ready to go. They're coming into this game on a roll. And like to me, it's like in the eye test. Watch the Eagles. They haven't really had a game this year where I was like, that was dominant. They won that game. There was no reason that they should have lost that game. Like every single game they've had, they're like, it's like, all right, they got pretty lucky here. And
Hmm.
the Niners are like consistently like every week. I feel like going into places and just stomping people out. And as long as they're completely healthy, which is a big if, um,
Yeah.
I think they are the class. But we'll see on Sunday.
Yeah. Last thought about the Eagles is oh wait, what was I gonna say? I mean, they just I don't know. I forget what I was gonna say honestly. But you did say Jalen Hurts leading the race for MVP. I'm gonna move on to another game that was one of the games of the week for me. Also, with who I firmly believe if he won this game, he probably would have been in like top 3 MVP race just because he's insane. I know it's a rookie, but
Mm-hmm.
CJ Stroud and the Texans almost knocked off the Jaguars again. They just needed one more inch and that
Yeah,
ball is over. Oh
yeah,
man.
that was crazy. Just bounce. I thought he made it,
Yeah, I
and
did
just
too.
I can't imagine the pain of just seeing that thing hit hardcore off the crossbar and just pop back out. But that's like another thing where it's like not to like harp on the Eagles, but it's like that's something that they would get the bounce. Like it would bounce off the crossbar and go in. Like it's just like the little like last week again. And like we'll move on to Stroud, but last week again with Jake Elliott. Like he makes that crazy field goal somehow. It like sneaks in. It was a terrible kick, and it somehow like gets down there. But
Yeah.
anyway, like you
Now
said,
the one thing about the Eagles that have made me respect them a little bit more though is that their like past 4 games have all been against like top tier teams, I think.
yeah, yeah, they're not
So I
beating
can
bad team. Yeah,
yeah.
they're beating good teams.
Early in this year when they were barely beating like bad teams where they were playing bad but still winning, I was more iffy, but more recently when they're playing these good teams and sneaking them out, it's more understandable to me. So
Hmm.
I've been able to hop on support them a little bit more now. Like
It
not
just kind
support
of
but like trust.
yeah, it reminds me of the Vikings a little bit last year, where it was like they're
Yeah.
winning these games, and then when you get to the playoffs, I think that margin for error is so much smaller, and they're not going to have
Mhm.
that. And I think they could be an early exit. When I think right now people think of them as a Super Bowl favorite, but I got
Yeah.
them losing in the. I mean, that's another thing. Like you look at their Super Bowl run, and it's like they played the Giants, who are like a Mickey Mouse team, and then they played the Niners without a quarterback to get to the Super Bowl. So
Yeah.
I think I don't know. They're a good team. I'm just like I just don't. It's
It
infuriating to
will
see these teams like kind of stumble their way to like victory.
Yeah, it will be interesting because of just the fact that I can't see any other team besides the 49ers beating them in the playoffs. So, like I don't trust Dallas at all. I don't really trust Detroit too much because they've never really had pressure on them. And then all their wild card teams in the NFC are just like meh to me. Like they're solid teams,
Yeah,
but in the AFC, I don't think they make the playoffs.
yeah. The NFC is garbage right now. But like I think I look around the league right now, and I think, like you said, I think the Niners are better than them. I think the Niners are going to win that game on Sunday. Um, I think the Ravens are better than them.
Mm-hmm.
I do think the Chiefs are better than them, even though they beat them.
Yeah.
Um,
Hot take, hot take. I'm joking.
uh, but yeah, I mean, I'm not saying they're not a bad team. Yeah, but I just think they've gotten when you're getting that amount of, a little NHL term, puck luck. Like it's just kind of
Hmm.
at some point it goes the other way. But like you were saying with C.J. Stroud, I do believe he is the MVP to me. Like it's a really, really weak MVP year. Like I think if we're really
Yeah.
looking at it, and this is some praise I'll give to the Eagles. Like I think A.J. Brown was kind of running away with the MVP there for a while, which was
Hmm.
impressive because he was just standing on his head. Um, but he's also another reason why I don't think Jalen Hurts is the MVP is because
Yeah.
he's throwing to incredible receivers. I don't think Jalen Hurts elevates anybody as much as the talent around him elevates him. Whereas I think CJ Stroud is elevating everyone around him. He's playing with
He's unreal.
yeah. So that's incredible to me.
I was not on the Stroud bandwagon going into this year. Like I was completely Bryce Young. But I mean, CJ Stroud just looks like the best, one of the best. I mean, clearly the best rookie quarterback in NFL history so far. I would say one of the best NFL rookie seasons, in my opinion,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean he's
just
definitely
by his ball control. Like he doesn't turn it over. It feels like.
he's putting the Wonderling test to shame,
Yeah,
isn't he?
he really is.
I don't know. You think he's better than rookie Griffin and rookie Luck?
Dude, I, I would say, yeah, I would take rookie Stroud just because I don't know Griffin. He had a great rookie season, but I don't know. That team still was like mediocre. I think this Texans team could finish with like 11 and like 5 or something like that. 11 and
Here's the
6, 12 and 5 type vibe to
like
me.
my difference is I think that Washington team, they could have gone on the way that they were trending that year, and the way he had them
Yeah.
playing. Now you can credit this to Griffin, or you can credit this to Mike Shanahan and Kyle Shanahan being on that staff.
Mm-hmm.
But that team was rolling, and if he doesn't get injured in that Seattle game, they were up 14-0 against the Seahawks in those playoffs. I do wonder, it's just one of those what ifs, but that year with those rookie quarterbacks was sensational. But I mean, Stroud's doing incredible things right now. Houston could sneak out a playoff win
They could.
if they
Yeah.
get in.
They'd be a scary team to face. Right now, the Colts, I think, have the spot, the
That's not going to
7th seed.
last.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's not going to last at all. You got Gardner Minshew as the quarterback there. But I really do think any team like the 2 seed could be the Ravens or the Chiefs, and if I'm them, I don't want to see Stroud first round.
no,
Especially if I'm the Ravens. I saw him earlier this year. He knows your defense a little bit, and that was when it was like he was a rookie, like first career start, so it was a little rocky. But by the second half, he had it going. He picked it
yeah,
up a little bit with him.
no, yeah. He's definitely he's been playing really well, and that Houston team is just D'Amico Ryans has done a phenomenal job with them. And like I said, he's not really playing with spectacular talent around him. Tank Dell's had a good year. Nico Collins, he's really made a good receiver. And when you have Noah Brown putting up 100-yard games, that's insane. Um, so yeah, I mean, runaway rookie of the year, and definitely could be the
And
MVP. Excuse me.
the Jags. Do you think the Jags are going anywhere?
They
Because
could. I think
I
the
don't
Jags are a
really
good
know
team.
about them. I don't really know about him. For some reason, Trevor Lawrence just seemed like I don't know. He hasn't impressed me like yet in a game this year. You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah,
know
they
he put up
seem.
a big numbers against the Texans, but like I'm still not too impressed with his performances this year.
Yeah, they seem out of sync. They never really seem to be on the same page. It seems like a team that has never left their first week. like rhythm, like where you're like just starting to kind of get everything together and things are starting to kind of look good. Like, and they haven't like kind of left that. And in all that time, I mean, what they're 9-3 or something like that. Like
they got 8-3, 9-3, something like that.
yeah. So I mean, they're winning, and they're gonna run away with that. The division's pretty much over now, barring like a
Yeah,
collapse.
unless they choke 2 games and the Texans just like
Yeah,
win out.
surge. But who would have thought that the AFC South would have 2 playoff teams? Because I do think they will.
Yeah, me too. That is a weird one. No one going into this year was like everyone's worst division coming into this
Yeah,
year.
yeah,
But
it's
I still
crazy.
think though, if Watson and Burrow don't get hurt, I think the AFC North has 4 playoff teams, and that would have been just one of the most historic seasons for a division.
Yeah, they were on pace for that. I mean, those teams were every single team in that division was a killer, and now Cleveland's going to be starting old Joe Cool.
Joe Flacco. Hey, Joe, all he has to do is manage the games with that defense. Like 1 or 2 good plays from him per game probably gets him a couple wins, you know?
Yeah, I mean that defense almost won it for him solely last week. Dorian Thompson-Robinson is terrible.
Yeah,
PJ
no, he's
Walker
not good.
is not good either.
Nope.
Yeah, it's just they probably should have tried to reacquire Dobbs,
They
who
really should have.
of course, I mean, look at him. Last week, he threw, 4 interceptions against the Bears at home.
That terrible
So,
Monday night football game.
yeah. I think if shows anything, it's 2 things. Number one, the value of having that second string quarterback
Mm-hmm.
and like having a competent backup is so crucial. And, revolving your team around your starter and not having a backup plan is just malpractice at the highest order. And number 2, when you have a decent quarterback, and I'm not talking like, I know there's a lot of people who are believers like you need a superstar quarterback in order to get anywhere in this league. And partially that's true. But you look at a team like San Francisco with Purdy
Mm-hmm.
and a guy who's just not going to screw up but can still make the throws.
You could even say a team like the Steelers, because Kenny Pickett
Yeah.
doesn't turn the ball over, but our
And just
defense will win
roster
us
build.
games.
Yeah, roster build from there. A guy's not going to turn it over, get the ball downfield. And that's what I see like with the Commanders right now, who are, for all intents and purposes at this point, just playing for draft position.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't think it would come to this, but it has. And, you have a top 5 pick right now. And I'm a firm believer that Sam Howell, if he was, say, CJ Stroud this year, or if he was even Bryce Young, people would be calling him the rookie of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And he's putting up these crazy numbers. He does lead the league in sacks, which is like one of the debatable is like, is that his fault? Is that the fact that they didn't invest in the offensive line?
Doug, I usually blame the O-line for stats. I'm sorry.
Yeah, like you got to give him time.
Yeah.
And I just don't think they're in any, like, if you're going to go with quarterback in that top 5 and you have him still, like, you have to make sure, like whoever you draft is a superstar. Like, you are so positive that they are that much better than him. And if you're not that sure of it, and you have a guy who just had a year of playing really good football, like, there's, you have to, I think, to shore up the roster around him and go from there. But the bottom line is like how important it is just to have even remotely competent quarterback play. The Jets are a perfect example. I feel like this year more than ever, you're seeing that around the league of these teams that are just handicapped by the fact that they just had no.
A lot of teams lost their starter this year. You got the Browns, Jets, Bengals. I've seen a couple other teams play without their starter a couple of times.
And just no, doomsday plan.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the Jets, I think, is like the perfect example where it's like there's no doomsday plan. And it's like you let Aaron Rodgers basically make your roster. You let him make the biggest free agent acquisitions. You had Elijah Moore on your team, but he wanted Alan Lazard. And it's like, well, maybe you should have kept the, I don't know, better receiver on your fucking team. And on a rookie contract as well. And then
Yeah.
you sign his boy Brian Boyle, who has never been good. Even when he was in
It's
college, he
him.
wasn't good.
Tim Boyle, dog. What
Yeah,
a
or Tim
legend.
Boyle. Tim Boyle, yeah.
He's
It's like,
the worst quarterback in NFL history. You look at his college stats, I think he had like 2 touchdowns and 14 interceptions.
yeah. Like, how did he get on an NFL roster? It's
Dog,
insane.
I could be better.
Yeah,
Like I could do what he does.
that
Oh
was
my god.
insane. That was one of the hardest games I've ever had to watch on Friday.
Yeah, no. I'm not gonna lie, I skipped over that one. Knew the Dolphins were probably gonna roll them, and the Dolphins rolled them. Uh, Thanksgiving Day, big upset. Packers beat the Lions. Actually,
And Jordan Love looked incredible.
yeah. Jordan Love looked like he had a groove again. Finally, hasn't
Yeah.
found it since like week 4. Early in this year, it looked like he could be something, and then he kind of fell off. League figured him out a little bit, but it seems like he might have a little bit of bounce back here late in the season.
He done figured the league back out again.
Yeah. They wrote me
Yeah.
off. I didn't write back.
No, he looks really good. He yeah, just like he's so smooth. Like I love watching him play. Like when he's like at his best when he's running and that offense is like moving smoothly, like he is so like effortless. Like his throws are effortless no matter what arm slot he's in. Like when he is just kind of just back there going through his progressions like it's natural.
Yeah.
Packers are a sneaky team. Packers could be finding themselves in a wild card spot.
Yeah, they're gonna have to win like 5 of their next 6, or maybe they might be able to squeak in at 9-8, but they're 5-6 right now. So I would, to assure
I don't
that, I
know.
would say,
I don't know, man, because it's like that seven spot right now is so. I think Minnesota still holds it, right? Or did somebody
yeah.
else take it?
Let me
So
see if I can pull this up real quick while you talk.
yeah, I think Minnesota. I think still has that 7th seed, and I mean, you see how they look. Um, but yeah, it's the NFC's completely wide open. Anything can happen. It's kind of one of those things that like there's not a team that really has pulled away besides, in my opinion, San Francisco, like we talked about. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, Jordan Love looked great. I think there's some questions about the Lions defensively now. They started off surprisingly well, and then they've kind of sputtered as the season's gone along. Their secondary was getting diced up. Um, you may be seeing kind of some of the same problems that you saw in Los Angeles with Jared Goff that you're seeing now in Detroit, where they ultimately feel like they might be limited with him.
Yeah, he's not a big pressure guy. Definitely
Mm-mm.
not a primetime big pressure guy. And the Packers are sitting in the 8th seed right now, and the Vikings are not at 7 right now. And that's just bye week, I think. They're just a half game back.
Yeah, I think
Vikings
that the
haven't had a
Packers
bye
could
week.
easily pass them over.
Yeah. Now that you say that, I'm kind of on board, but I do want to see Josh Dobbs make it happen. But he really let a brother down
He
on
did
Monday night in one of the worst Monday night games of all time.
ever.
But
And Justin Fields is like the same thing as Jordan Love, where it's like it is fun to watch him play. As far as like everything seems very smooth, like the way he moves around is very fluid, and it's just like it's just everything after that, like everything after the mechanics is like whoa, like what the hell just
you
happened?
know, we're Justin Fields hater 1 and 2 in this building.
Yeah, it's just like what the fuck did I just watch?
Yeah, no,
And
he's horrendous to me. Like he hasn't figured anything out really. If he can't scramble and make things happen with his feet, it is not happening that game for the Bears.
no, yeah, I think he almost had like 100 yards rushing in that game or
Yeah,
something. Yeah, because he just takes off and poor DJ Moore. But you know, I'm convinced DJ Moore. You put him on a team with like a really good quarterback, he's like a top 5 receiver.
yeah, no, I mean he makes it's like that. You know how DeAndre Hopkins early in his career had like 16 different quarterbacks
Yeah,
playing for the Texans. Now I'm not saying he's DeAndre Hopkins level because Hopkins was putting up crazy numbers with those guys. But it's kind of like that in the fact that like he's been playing with these bums but he's still getting his numbers.
Yeah, because he's fast and he's kind of like Allen Robinson was there for like a year. I think
Yeah.
DJ Moore's better than Allen Robinson, but he's got like that kind of bag of like he's fast, but he's also like really good with his on ball skills and like he can kind of make catches through contact and he's really good. It just sucks that maybe he'll have Caleb Williams and Marvin Harrison Jr. alongside of him next year. Who knows?
Yeah, that would be wild if they. Do you think they pull the trigger on a quarterback next year if they got that one pick?
I think they'd be stupid not to because it's like
I
it's
think they
one of the
would too, but it's
yeah
like a
like
Bears move to not take a
yeah
quarterback.
it's one of those things where they could trade that and then get just another king's ransom of picks.
I will be right back real quick. You
Uh,
can keep talking.
the T-Bell.
Yeah, the good old T-Bell. I had to shoot some food. I was starving. Got some good old Chipotle chicken wraps.
There you
Ready to
go.
rumble
Hell
after this pod.
yeah. Are we hopping on Ford after this?
Yeah, we can.
Run some games. My
Yeah.
brother's in
Gotta
bed, so
get
it'll
some
just
more
be.
in. Because of it's about to change back
I
in a
know,
couple
yeah.
days here.
We'll still ride. Your brother really wants to ride too.
I know, but he's just lame. He's too sweaty.
Is he gonna get pissed at us because we're like fucking terrible?
No, he won't get pissed, but he'll be like, guys, do this, do that, and I'll be like, shut the fuck up. I'm charging. All right, so where were we at
We were talking
in
about
our
the
beautiful show?
Bears taking the Caleb
Oh yeah,
Williams.
quarterback.
Yeah,
I mean, it's really dumb for them not to, but at the same time, like, I don't trust the Bears to make the right decisions. They haven't since like Jay Cutler's days, you know.
yeah,
So
yeah. They haven't shown any kind of organizational function in a long time. And it sucks because right now I think you're probably going to see Eberflus is probably going to get fired. And if you're talking about like coaching destinations, like that are going to be most appealing, is I think right now you're going to have Chicago's going to have an opening, L.A. Chargers are going to have an opening, Washington's going to have an opening, and I'd say if you're looking at from like a pure asset standpoint, like Chicago would be number one
yeah,
because you're going to have a ton of drafts or a ton of salary cap space. You're going to have that unbeatable draft capital.
mm,
So they could, do a complete overhaul and just start from scratch. And I think that that's what they need to do because, right now I just think they are on a path of just either mediocrity or absolutely blowing this situation. And that's something that you cannot do. When you have
yeah.
two top five picks, you cannot blow that.
You gotta do what the Cowboys did in like late '80s when they got the Herschel Walker trade. Got to be able to build on trades you win severely, like they did last year. You got to be able to make moves, or even like the Texans last year. They had the 3 and 4 or 2 and 3 pick of the
Yeah,
draft, and I mean they hit both of them. C.J. Stroud's best probably rookie of the year offensively, and Will Anderson's been fantastic for him. So
he has. He had a big stop on, was that the goal line that he had that stop last week?
yeah,
But,
yeah, he was stepping up.
yeah. But, yeah, I mean, they can't miss on these. So I think they have to take a quarterback in this situation. And
No.
But, yeah, that was a bad game. Minnesota's in a weird situation quarterback-wise now because it's like, do you re-sign Kirk next year? What do you re-sign him for? Do you move
Yeah.
on and just try and could they be a team that like tries to trade up? So you never know.
Yeah, that will be interesting to see what the Vikings do. They're in a weird situation. But you mentioned Eberflus getting fired. I got another question for you here. Do you think they lost 10-7 this past weekend to the New York Giants? Do you think Danny DeVito beat another team? Do you think Bill Belichick is gone from the Patriots after this year?
I do. I
Yeah.
think his message is worn. and I think he's ready to move on. I think the Patriots are ready to move on.
Do you
And I know
think he
there's like
retires or
now.
just
I
goes to
think
a different?
I mean there's talks
Okay.
about him coming to Washington. Personally, I don't want that. I don't want another retread like way after their glory days. Like bring in somebody fresh, but I think the plan for them is for Gerard Mayo to take over. I think that's always kind of been the plan. But I don't know if you heard Rex Ryan talking earlier this week about Belichick and just saying that like he feels like that Belichick way is like exhausting to like younger guys,
Yeah.
and like I think
Not as
that's
many people are
true.
patient these days.
Yeah, like I just think like with these kind of players, it's like it's very hard to find guys who are like that are going to be so stringent and so like no fun, no like none of that.
Hmm.
And I mean, it doesn't help that I don't think Mac Jones is very good. I think honestly, Bill Belichick needs to go to a place where he is not in total control because Bill Belichick, the GM, has hurt Bill Belichick, the coach, because that roster is devoid of talent on both sides of the
Mm.
ball, and that's what you're seeing right now. Is like you can't always have scheme; that you have to have guys who are actually good, and that's Patriots just don't have good players.
Especially when you don't have Tom Brady as your quarterback anymore. Like you could
Yeah,
get away with it a little bit when Tom was there. You could have all your white wide receivers, but
yeah, not without TB. Yeah, so I do
yeah.
think he's gone. I think he'll go somewhere else. You could see him out in with the Chargers. I think that's probably
Yes,
his most likely
that is the
destination.
move. If I'm Belichick, I am going to LA. You got your franchise quarterback already. You got a defense that's talented. It just seems like Brandon Staley hasn't been able to tap into that potential of the defense. I
Hmm.
mean, they have J.C. Jackson, former Patriot. You got Khalil Mack, Joey Bosa, and Derwin James. Those are 4 stars right
Hmm.
there, or at least
Yeah,
used to
here's
be
the thing.
stars.
I didn't know this. J.C. Jackson's back with the Patriots.
Oh, he's back now?
I don't know when that happened. Yeah, I feel like an idiot, but he's back with them and he sucks now. He was like a
Oh
healthy
no.
scratch like a few weeks ago.
Oh no.
Yeah, but
Well, scratch the JC Jackson, but there's a lot of talent on that defense still.
there is,
Besides him.
and it's one of those things where he doesn't have to do much from a personnel standpoint, and he can just step in and kind of I think ride into the sunset. Like maybe stay there for like 4 years or something, and then
Hmm.
go somewhere else. But I think the Chargers right now, that roster is ready to like they have been ready to be a Super Bowl contender. Um, I'm not gonna
Forever.
lie, like I'm a big Justin Herbert fan, but man, dude, last week was the first time where I'm like, I just feel like you are getting bailed out constantly by people blaming everyone around you, and like he had plays last week that were just like that. He just screwed the team. Like when he got that sack fumble, it's like you got to
Hmm.
feel like Jadeveon Clowney is right on top of you. Like you have to know that.
Yeah. They should have won that game. You hold a team to 20 points, you got a bit like an explosive offense in previous weeks. We've seen the Ravens be able to put up a lot of points. I mean, your defense, which isn't your strong suit, finally shows up, and they still charger their way, Brandon Staley their way to only scoring 10 points. But I do blame Justin Herbert for that. Points when it comes to offense, if your quarterback can sling it, you're going to get points. And like he was off last week for him, and it was not a good look for the Chargers. I think that was the kiss of death for Brandon Staley finally. So
Yeah,
I hope he's gone. I really do.
yeah,
If
I
they
think
still
he's
figure out a way to like just be like, we're gonna keep him.
like he's so nice though. Yeah, it's honestly that was one of those games where I felt like the Ravens should have blown them out. Like it felt
Hmm.
like the Ravens were playing with their food, and it's like, dude, when Lamar is off schedule and like when he is like not like hitting on his first read, he is so hard to watch because it is
He's
like so
very mid.
yeah, like the offense is clunky and it's like and he's just kind of he runs around and even when he runs now, he's not really like running to go anywhere. He's like very afraid to get hit, which is understandable, but it's like he can't slide right. And it's like when he's running, it's just kind of he's not really going. He's like moving laterally, and I just think that I don't know. It's just when they are clicking and he is on schedule, like they're killing it. Like they're very hard to stop. But like when he's off schedule like this, it's a lot like Tua in Miami, and it's like once you get him off that first read, then it's like everything kind of falls apart. Um,
And
it'll be
the the loss of Mark Andrews is really we're gonna see how much the impact carries on, but I think you could tell in that first game without him that there was a big impact between the Ravens offense with Mark Andrews and without him. And
hmm.
so I'm interested to see if the good old Coastal alumni Isaiah Likely can step it up a little bit more.
He had a good game last week. He was
Yeah.
the top receiver for him. So
Yeah.
big athletic guy. Kind of reminds me of
Yeah.
Plaxico Burress.
Yeah. The pride of Coastal Carolina right now in the league.
Him and Josh Norman.
Yeah, so, I mean Josh Norman, he's gone now, so like
Do they have his
he's
number
not in the league.
retired down there?
Yeah, he's like our only number retired.
Was he number 26 or something? 28 or down there?
24.
Oh, he was 24 down there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. I have a.
Unless it's some
I
other
have.
dude's number retired.
I have a Josh Norman Redskins jersey, and I have a Josh Norman Panthers jersey. I don't know if I threw them out. I may have thrown them out, but I was a big Josh Norman guy back in the day.
Yeah, the good old Panthers time when that's a year that built him when they went
Yeah,
15-1.
he was
Now
great
it's
then.
time for my Steelers. Like 59 games it took. First time since Matt Canada was hired. We got 400 yards, and you know who was the OC? Not Matt Canada. We got rid
They
of him
figured it
since
out.
the last time we've had our show. We got rid of Canada.
Offensive
We fired
outbursts.
Canada finally. And our offense finally, I know we only scored 16 points still. But
That's the funniest part of the whole thing.
if you watched that game, oh my God, the offense looks, I mean, it's at the point where like when you're not running the same 4 plays over and over again, you're like, we got an offense back.
We're like, oh, we got a jet sweep. Jet sweep.
Yeah, but the offense actually looked good. Kenny Pickett threw some balls into some tight windows. He looked actually like he could pass the ball again. And we used the middle of the field for the first time. And finally, we found out that Freiermuth, we should be using him as much as possible because he had 12 catches for like 120 yards in the game. It was
First
either
game off
12.
IR, right? Too, or what? Has he been off IR for
Second
a few
game
weeks?
back.
Second, yeah.
It was against the Browns was the first game back, and we still had Matt Canada, and we didn't throw a single pass over the middle of the field, so he was definitely not involved that week. Had him on the bench for fantasy, but he dropped 21 points this week. Had a
Same here. I was just about to say, I have him fresh
great
off
game.
IR.
I mean, it was. I enjoyed watching it. Our offense, I think, had like 280 yards going into halftime, and it's like we barely have 280 yards every other game of the year. So we should have smoked. We should have smoked the Bengals, but a couple turnovers, a couple fumbles, really
Yeah,
hurt
just
us. Drop touchdown by Deontay Johnson hurt us,
you
but
kind of chalk that up to like the division game kind of thing, where it's like one of those. But Deontay Johnson kind of put a big old gray cloud over everything by just having that video go everywhere of him just giving up on the play.
yeah, that was wild. Najee Harris though looks like he could run again.
He took
That
the
was
jeans
wild.
off.
Yeah, took the jeans off. Not running in wet clothes anymore. This man had burst. He had power. He was dropping a shoulder for the first time I've seen in his career. It's wild what
Dude,
happens
Matt
after
Canada,
a
he
week.
was like an evil stepmother that just got like melted.
Yeah, it just seems like the team morale's riding high. And honestly, I'm back on the Steelers to the Super Bowl bandwagon.
Back on the wagon. Hey, dude, have you seen that video? I didn't see the video of Chris Boswell when they're like walking into the locker room.
Yeah,
And it's like,
not
let's
because of
go.
you.
Yeah, I can promise you that. It was like, damn. By the way, Chris
You know
Boswell
it's
gets
bad.
he gets hurt. I feel like the most out of any kicker ever. Like I feel like he gets hurt at least once a year.
Yeah, but the Boz is automatic. He is, man. I think he's 18 for
good.
19. Only one he missed is like 61 yards at the end of a half.
Yeah, he's consistent. Consistent boy. Bald ass.
We love the Boz. He was a part of the
All right.
Killer Bees.
Boswell, Bell, Brown.
Yeah. The only
Hey,
sad
B,
part
dude.
about that game is that I
Hey,
thought we
B,
were
just
going
be
to lose
sent.
for a second.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we picked them off,
What,
and I
this
was like,
week?
let's go. Yeah.
Yeah.
They were driving, and
Yeah,
then
it
we
was
got
kind
the
of.
interception. Sealed the deal.
Did you guys have the ball for like the whole third quarter?
We had it a lot. The time of possession was like 40 to 20.
Yeah, because I was like keeping track of that game on like the ESPN thing, and I felt like the entire third quarter you guys had possession.
Mm-hmm.
Like you guys were driving down
Yeah,
like the
man.
entire time. I was like,
We
this
were.
has to be the longest drive in the
I
history of
know.
the league.
It was beautiful. It was beautiful to watch our offense actually be competent and throwing deep passes for once, not running strictly out routes, the hardest route to throw in the league. And getting Fryer moves involved has to be the most hype part to me because like he could be our next Heath Miller. Every fan's like on board with that. And we just were not using him properly like when he was playing the
Yeah,
past 2 years. And he could easily be a top 5
they're
tight
like
end in my opinion.
white, check. Square head, check. Slightly slow, check. I think we got
Yeah,
ourselves a tight end, boys.
exactly. TJ Watt?
He is good though.
TJ Watt? 2 sacks? No. Chasing the sack
There you
record
go.
again? Dog, honestly, TJ breaks the sack record, give him MVP. If we make the playoffs, TJ breaks sack record. He has
Damn.
like 4 more forced fumbles by the end of the year. And then maybe he gets lucky, gets another interception because he's been dropping into coverage lately. I can make the argument, I feel like. This year especially.
Dude, do you see that they're saying that Deron Bland should win at like Defensive Player of the Year?
Who?
The
Oh, the dude
Cowboys
that just
corner.
broke the dog. Get him out of here. I don't care
Yeah,
about
they're like
him.
he's Defensive Player of the Year. It's like why? Because they're blowing teams out and he's getting pick sixes in those blowouts. Like that's why. That's our. Yeah, oh, but he's a Cowboys corner. Just how like
Dog,
Trayvon
look at
Diggs had
the
all those
teams
there.
they've beat.
Haven't beaten a team above 500,
I know.
and Seattle's like one of the first real decent teams they've played. Watch Seattle beat them. I would love that. That would be so funny. I don't think they will, but we'll see.
Absolutely. But no, I'm not on the Deron Bland best defensive player in the league this year. Like, I get he has a couple pick sixes. He broke the record for interception returns. But, like, all of them are against some bum quarterback, I feel like, besides Sam Howell. Sam Howell, though, not a good pass on that play.
Nah, they're
Just,
pressing. It was like already
yeah.
45 to 10 and 10 pointers. So like it was already getting way out of it. He was just like, fucking, we got to do something.
Yeah. Yeah, slung it right at the dude who you don't want to
Yeah.
sling it to this year. And he had the chance to make the tackle, save
Yeah.
it, so it wasn't against the Commanders. But now every time you go to Dallas, that play is going to be replayed.
Oh, yeah. That's all good, though. Did you see on FanDuel that they had that as a bet? It was like that
Did
Deron
they?
Bland will have a pick six. And then in parentheses, they had has 2 this year. Or has 3 this year or something like that. And it's like, wow. And it was like plus 2,700. Should have fucking done it.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
should have done it.
No,
But
well.
no. Okay. Do we want to talk about the Thursday night game to wrap it up? I know you mentioned it. Seattle going into Jerry World
We want to do
against
the
the
pick 'em real
Cowboys.
quick and then we'll head out.
Yeah, absolutely. And you
All right, who
hinted
you?
to it, but I am actually going to take Seattle because I don't trust Dallas against good teams at all. Like we talked about just a second ago, they haven't beaten a team that was above 500. And I
Mm-hmm.
firmly believe as long as Gino doesn't turn the ball over this week, if he can just protect the ball. I know that's a hard ask this year from Gino, but we know he can do it. He did it last year really well. So, Gino, protect the ball. And your secondary is good enough to lock up those Cowboys receivers. I feel like that young secondary of Seattle is one of the best secondaries in the league, in my opinion. So I think they can lock them up. I'm taking the Seahawks in a close one, 27-24. And their line's been decent this year. Got better.
Yeah,
Hopefully they can block
yeah,
Garrett
they've
and
been better.
Lawrence. Not Garrett, but Parsons and Lawrence.
Yeah, they've been kind of up and down. I think they kind of have patchwork offensive line lately, but
Mm-hmm.
Seattle, it's one of those things. Like I don't know if they're good. I don't know if they're bad. Um, game like it was kind of weird. Like it was like they were in that game against San Francisco, but they never really were at the same time.
Yeah.
I think Dallas wins this one. I think it's going to be like a 31-14 game. Um, and this is the game that really sends everybody into like Super Bowl frenzy. Like they're going to be like, "We're
Oh,
going!
Jesus.
This is the year!" And
Oh,
and they're
no. Not
wrong, of
again.
course. But honestly, it's nice. It's nice that they do it every year, and then every year they get just in the most embarrassing way they will lose to the Niners again, like they always do. So
And
I'm
they're
picking
like,
the Cowboys,
rivalry,
unfortunately.
rivalry. It's like, it's not a rivalry. It's
Yeah, they just
just
beat the brakes
your
off you
bigger
every
brother
time.
stomping you.
No, you play them every year. That's not a right. It's just a different.
Oh,
All right then.
well,
I guess maybe we'll see everybody on Friday night, Saturday night,
yeah.
one of those.
Friday, Saturday, one of those
Yeah,
nights we'll be back. Get a
yeah,
nice recording. Get our pick'ems for the weekend going.
yeah. Back on the skip, back on the wagon.
Back in here. Made it
All
happen
righty,
for
my
you
friend.
all our viewers.
We are professional casual fans, getting more professional every week.
Absolutely. And we will catch you all later.